Big time flood threat continues for the southeast and mid-Atlantic. What's going on, guys? Certified meteorologist Jonathan Kegas back with you. We're talking about Debby still. Latest advisory. We'll go over the latest forecast. Really, the main thing, though, we're going to talk about is the rainfall associated with Debby. Wind speed, not so much, but we're going to get all into that. Before we break all of this down in the latest track when it comes to Debby, as you see it, just meandering there, hit that subscribe button if you want to stay updated on the rest of Debby and the rest of hurricane season and beyond. Love having you guys here and love the comments and the conversations we're having in this growing weather community. All right, so here we go. 8 o'clock advisory, 40-mile-per-hour storm. The pressure back down a couple of millibars, so this is going to be hot off the press here. Nonetheless, it is back over the Gulf Stream, so we are expected to see strengthening here. Take it very, very close as the center of Debby, again, kind of the, relatively speaking, worst-case scenario in terms of strengthening with this system. We've already seen the worst case here in terms of the rainfall, but nonetheless, getting back off the Gulf Stream into the Gulf Stream, intensifying, expected to a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm again before making another landfall around the Charleston area or in between Charleston and Wilmington. Really doesn't matter too much because it's still all about the rain, although a 60-mile-per-hour wind will do some damage and take some power out likely. And then it slowly works its way up through the Carolinas into Virginia and then finally starts to race and pick up the speed here and move eventually into New England and into parts of Canada by the time we get to the end of the weekend. Again, by this point, as a tropical depression, likely post-tropical at this point. But again, the biggest threat with this is going to be the rainfall. Before we get into some of those totals and into the risk level, I do want to show you the latest modeling with this. And again, following suit with that very slow movement from Savannah to about Charleston into the Myrtle Beach area, and then coming back in through central North Carolina into around Washington, D.C., southeast Pennsylvania, and then again by the weekend getting up into New England and then especially southern Canada. The main thing, again, we're watching with Debby, especially in the short term, is going to be the river level. So what you see right here are the latest numbers when it comes to, or are the latest levels, I should say. We do have a couple already in major flood stage. Nonetheless, the biggest thing that we're going to be watching here going forward is most of the dots that you see here getting back into major flood stage. So where we have major flood stage already, this is going to be St. Mary's River near McElhaney. This is going to be to the west of Jacksonville. Forecast crest is going to be on Wednesday. We're already in major flood stage, but Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, we will crest at 20.3. Further down, we're going to likely see a major flood crest here. Santa Fe River at Worthington Springs, likely rising another 2 feet by Wednesday afternoon. You see the crest there at 67.3. So again, if you're watching from this area, we are likely going to see a continued crest. We're going to go further up now into Georgia, and we are currently in moderate flood stage in the Canoochee River near Claxton, expected to crest on Wednesday, August 7th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at major flood stage. So again, if you live along that body of water, make sure that you are paying close attention. Let me X out of some of these boxes. We're going to take a little bit of time on these graphics. Again, if you do want to go about it and look at the overall modeling and flood threat, you're obviously more than welcome to go forward. But I do want to talk about the river stages here. For those that may be living along it, the Ogeechee River, near Eden. This is back in Georgia now. We're currently in minor flood stage as of 8 o'clock on August 6th, expected to crest on Saturday, August 10th at 16 feet. That's major flood stage overnight. So again, plan accordingly if you are in that area. We're going to go up to North Carolina, or into South Carolina first, I should say. This is going to be a big rise here. The Black River at Kingstree. Currently, again, this is all as of 8 o'clock Eastern time on August 6th. Currently, no flooding going on, 4.52 feet, but the forecast by Saturday, August 10th, is to get this into major flood stage, and that is going to be the key here. With any dot you see, really any kind of river or tributary around Charlotte and then east of Charlotte, we have the potential to get into major flood stage. Just look at this here, this forecast. The current level is 5 feet just about on the Rocky River near Norwood, okay? Its forecast crest is 39.7 feet. That's 5 feet above major flood stage, and that is going to be on Thursday, August 8th. So that is going to be a rapid rise. If you know anybody that lives along these rivers, keep that in mind. Or if you live along these rivers yourself, big time rise in river levels. We're going to keep a close eye on this going forward. As you may imagine, again, this is going to be the zone of that excessive rainfall outlook. We've talked about this during a couple of the live broadcasts, that when you see that deep purple, that high risk for excessive rainfall, we typically see widespread flash flooding. We get into those flash flood emergencies rather quickly. And again, this is going to be for tomorrow on August 7th from Charleston to about Wilmington. We're under that flash flood, that high flash flood threat. And then again on Thursday. And this is the reason why we are going to see the potential for all of that rain. We'll look at the model forecast in just one second. That high risk for flash flooding, again, going to be there from Columbia, South Carolina, still into Charleston. We're still in that higher or that moderate risk. And then from Wilmington to Raleigh to Jacksonville. So again, it's not every day that you see that high risk expand several days, and we've already had it for 2 days, and it's going forward for 2 days. I want to now take you to the high-resolution future radar, and again, just show you the reason why. And Debby just continues to spin and to spin and to spin around South Carolina and North Carolina, and it continues to pump in all that tropical moisture. This particular model goes out until 7 o'clock in the morning, so we still have some heavy rain along the coast, but the bulk of Debby's moisture now pushing into Virginia, so we're going to be watching for some flooding into the Roanoke Valley, potentially into Southside Virginia, and then eventually getting up into the Piedmont of Virginia as well. So we're going to be watching Virginia closely once we get into Thursday night and Friday, and then eventually the Northeast for the weekend. So now, as we kind of bounce around, there's a lot to get to, and there's a lot of information that I want to make sure that everybody gets. This is going to be now through the weekend. Really, this goes out through Saturday. It says through Sunday, but the model data goes out to about Friday. This is going to be the extended run of the model that I just showed you. It's our in-house model here, and it's done a very good job with pinpointing where the heaviest rain is going to be. And again, I will say this is underselling it, as these events typically happen when we have this when we have the moisture really confined into one spot, and we have these big fire hose bands, as you just saw there on the model forecast. We typically see the numbers underdone. We can get this amount of rain in a couple of hours. So we talked about this during the live streams, that we could end up seeing 20 to 30 inches plus of rain on a localized scale in eastern South Carolina, eastern North Carolina, and maybe even up closer to the Virginia border. So just something to keep in mind. We will end with just a quick tropical update here. Not much going on the Atlantic side. We have a couple of very weak tropical waves. We have another one in the central Caribbean, far south, just to the north of South America, to the east of Central America. The potential development zone is in this yellow shaded area, really from about Central America into the Bay of Campeche and into the extreme southwest Gulf of Mexico. Again, at this point, it has a low shot. The Madden-Julian oscillation pulse that we often talk about, it is coming into the Western Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico over the next few days, so that could give it a little oomph to help it get going by the end of this 7-day stretch. But nonetheless, I think we'll take a quiet streak going for the next maybe 5 to 7 days in the Atlantic, with the exception of this thing before really that third week of August, that second to third week of August, we start to see that uptick as we get into really the peak of hurricane season. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you found this content helpful, please hit that thumbs up. And if you want to stay updated and have this weather conversation on the Tropics, hit that subscribe button. I would love to know what the weather's doing in your neighborhood, where you're tuning in from. Post that in the comments, and we will catch you next time.